This is Raise Your Fucking Standards for August the 24th of 2025. Recording it the day after because I didn't take the time to do so yesterday. But long story short, today was a fucking today also, but yesterday was a phenomenal fucking day. And in fact, the things I'll go over, they're not even, well, actually, some of them are quite sales related. So basically, to do a little late celebration of my birthday, and I mean, I promised myself this a long time ago. I did a few things. I went to Chicago and I did a few things there, and basically I'm going to say what those were. So the first thing I did was I went skydiving for the second time in my life. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I went to a restaurant that I really wanted to go to for a very long time. And then aside from that, a third thing, and this actually wasn't in Chicago. I'll disclose that a little bit later in the video. So the first thing, the skydive, it was in this place called Skydive Chicago. It's in Ottawa, Illinois. It's about an hour and a half away from the actual city of Chicago. But long story short, it was insane. So the guy I was doing the tandem with, because I was latched onto him, he's the instructor. His name is Tim. He's been doing it for a very long time. And basically when we got up there, it was at 13,000 feet. And I mean, it all happened so fast, but basically we get out and my legs are hanging over the door, the airplane door. He's back there and he goes and go. And then basically I curve like a banana and jump out, and I'm telling you, the free fall was insane. The very first moment of free fall was like, holy cow, like holy shit, literally. And then body kind of got used to it, and then after that, the next part that happened was we fell for some time. I felt like 30 seconds or so. Basically until the point where the altimeter, I think it's called, it's worn on your left wrist. It measures your altitude until we got to 5,500 foot. That's when the parachute gets opened. So we got to 5,500 foot, parachute got opened, and when the parachute opened, what happened actually was the parachute got twisted. And what's crazy is before the jump, there was like a little poster in the hangar that basically showed a picture of a twisted parachute, and it said that you should cut that twisted parachute if you're unable to get it to deploy properly. And so like in my mind, ultra light speed, I'm thinking, fuck, do we have to cut this with two guys attached to one parachute? But it turned out Tim was very, very experienced. So I don't even remember how, but he kind of like twisted us in one direction and it untwisted it, and so the parachute got free. Which is fucking insane now that I'm thinking about it. So the parachute got free, we kept falling. And then after that, what happened was he had me control the two like controlling, I guess, cables of the parachute. And a few times we did a few turns where basically what happens is you pull a little bit harder on one of them. Oh, and one thing I did forget to mention, he had me deploy the parachute. So there's like a cord on your right hand side for the main parachute, and then on the left hand side for the reserve. Obviously we thankfully didn't have to use the reserve, but for the one on the right hand side, the main, he had me pull that. So I basically deployed the parachute. But aside from that, the thing that I did want to mention was the twists. So you can pull on one of the cords more than the other one, And what happens is your parachute obviously ducks down to one side, and so you swing in a circle. And we did that like 3 or 4 times, and that was ballsy, but that was awesome. That was awesome. I mean, that was insane. That was amazing. Um, Aside from that, that was it for the jump. I'm heavily considering, because I've already done 2 tandem jumps. Now it might be time to start doing my own solo jumps. I'm not putting that out of the picture. Definitely considering it, because that's even more it's even more discomfort doing those. So now that I mention it to myself that it's more discomfort, I might have to do that. So we'll see on that. Uh, then I went to Chicago, downtown. Went to this place called Bar Mar. It's like 2 restaurants in one. It's Bar Mar, which is like the seafood, and then Bazaar Meat, which is like the meat. It's by this guy named Jose Andres. He owns one in Chicago, one in Miami Beach, one in Las Vegas, one in New York, I think, and one in LA. Basically, the top cities of the U.S. He owns one in each one, so I guess it's like 4 or 6 of them. But I mean, obviously, it was awesome. And as I was sitting there eating, it was a really amazing like seafood, not raw seafood, but cold seafood platter sampler. And like I'm just observing the people who are in there, and like it wasn't super busy, which was nice, just very relaxing. But the main thing I was thinking to myself is this has to become the standard. Eating at a place like this, spending $200 to $300 for yourself, for maybe friends, for a girl, for your family, that has to become the standard multiple times a week. That should become the normal, the comfort. Because right now, obviously, it's not. Which is why, again, I'm doing wolves. I'm doing all this. I'm changing myself completely. So that was the biggest takeaway from Bar Mar. Pretty fun. I walked around the city of Chicago for like an hour. That was a blast, and had a lot of eyes on me, if you know what I mean. Um, it was beautiful, though. It's a beautiful city, beautiful people, if you know what I mean. Um, the weird thing though was I didn't see a single crane. There's no new construction going on there. So if that indicates anything about the economic status of Chicago, there you go. Aside from that, then I drove back to Wisconsin, and I got out of my comfort zone. There's it's like this sort of pizzeria bar thing on the top floor of I think it's a Marriott, either a Marriott or a Wyndham, like a pretty decent hotel downtown near the square, near the Capitol Square. But I went to this place just to, have a drink and do something to get out of my comfort zone. I mean, I don't drink alcohol too much really, so I had a non-alcoholic. But long story short, I was kind of there just waiting, and then all of a sudden I hear this group of girls speaking Russian, and I'm like, okay, now's a good chance to get uncomfortable. And so they kind of went. I think they all went to the bathroom to like take pictures or whatever, and then I was just waiting. I actually, in the Wolves group chat, our leader had sent something about setting our primary goal for the week and holding ourselves accountable to it. Well, I did that, and as I was writing that down on a piece of paper to have it, they returned from the bathroom, and I kind of looked at them, and some of them looked back at me, and then they went over to their table. And as they were doing so, I kind of got up, ran over. I was like, "Ladies, do you speak Russian?" And then I repeated it in Russian. and they're kind of like, they're a little bit, I guess, flattered would be the best word, but they were flattered. And so I started having conversation. And long story short, what I'm trying to say is, for the longest time, I've had so much discomfort in speaking with women, especially beautiful women, which is that's why I did that yesterday. And I mean, it didn't really get to much other than just me getting out of that initial comfort. But now I know I've set a good tone, and I can continue growing off of that, because I'd asked them if they'd be interested if I bought one of them a drink, and they were like, no, it's our ladies' night out. We really appreciate it, but no, long story short. But, long story short, um, get out of your discomfort. If it means doing stuff like that, then do that. Because you can be an ultra athlete doing really hard physical exercise. You can be a cold-blooded salesman making calls 12, 14 hours a day. You can be jumping out of airplanes and overcoming that fear. But if you're still too fucking scared to go up to girls and talk to them, you're being a pussy. And you're not allowing yourself to fulfill your true potential and your true identity, which is why I am doing things like that every day, more and more. So with that being said, that's it for Raise Your Fucking Standards for today, for August 24th. And the main takeaway is, get uncomfortable. If you want something, go get it. And realize that anything worth achieving is going to require some discomfort. Anything worth achieving is going to be a process, and it's going to take time. And it's not going to be as quick as you want it to be, but with persistence, it is going to happen. So with that being noted, take care, stay focused. I'll see you later.